Ladies and gentlemen, Gits and Grots, welcome back to another episode of Red-Rupee cast featuring Dawn of War 2, the Elite mod. We've got what should be a pretty awesome game for you today. Let's introduce our players on the red side. As the Chaos Sorcerer for the Night Lords faction of Chaos, we have Tyranid, Terror. On the blue side, we have the Chaos Lord playing the Word Bearers for Chaos as Mostafa. 007. Now this is a Chaos on Chaos mirror, I know, but this match looked pretty awesome, so I'm excited to cast it. Before we get too deep in the match, I also want to remind everyone that I have been streaming on the regular as of recently, Monday through Friday, 11 to 4, about on Eastern Standard Time. So if you're looking to hang out, if you're looking to learn more about this game or other RTS, watch me play in first person, or just, you know, come enjoy some live events, tournaments, show matches, all that kind of stuff, feel free to stop by. Otherwise, let's get into this game. As we stand right now, everything's going pretty much as you would expect. The Sorcerer shows up, starts blasting some Doom Bolts, gets the Chaos Marines out of the gate, and now finding himself able to probably deal with this Chaos Lord a little better, can come in and maybe chip some damage off of that. Chaos Space Marines have to be a little careful, though. That bolter doesn't do completely insignificant damage on the retreat over here, but it looks like they're going to hop into that garrison, play it safe, tuck themselves away from the big, bad meanie that the Chaos Lord is. And as it stands, looks like Tyranid Terror is getting the best of that first engagement, going to be able to cap most of the map relatively freely. Chaos Lord decides to give up chase over here. Oh, but the Chaos Space Marines of Tyranid Terror jumps out and leaves the safety of the relative safety anyways, of their garrison. Aspiring Champion comes down. That makes the fight a lot spookier for these Chaos Space Marines. Hopping in on both sides. It's actually a pretty daring melee engagement for both sides right here. Will that Aspiring Champion goes down. That's an early squad kill for Tyranid Terror. That doesn't bode well for Mostafa, but I suppose things could be worse. It looks like he did manage to win the engagement up top, or at least force off something. But in the early game, it's tricky. The Chaos Lord is big and beefy, but the Chaos Sorcerer has a lot more spell utility. We'll see how the war gears go, but the Sorcerer has more mobility, of course, with a bunch of warp options, both for himself and for his troops. He can warp things around with the Warp Rift, or of course get the teleporting roads. Drops a Doom Bolt, doesn't really do much to that pile of heretics, but does have to fall back. We have a full gen farm down for the Sorcerer now. Only one gen, a second pops up just as I'm saying that for the Chaos Lord. And the Chaos Lord just backcapping, trying to keep the requisition income about even on his side of the map. This is, of course, a reskin of Green-Tooth Gorge, so if the map looks a little different to you, this is just an Elite Mod reskin. This is Green-Tooth Gorge, just with a little color palette change here. So the Chaos Mirror, I'm not super familiar with the exact mechanics. Chaos is probably one of the factions I'm least familiar with myself. Chaos and Tyranids are what I've personally played the least of. So I would assume a lot of it will come down to some kind of heretic skirmishes in Tier 1, see who can come out on top of those. Mostafa obviously had to repurchase his heretic squad. It was a shame he lost the one he did, because he had literally just purchased that Aspiring Champion, so that's a lot of power resource down the drain. That said, it looks like he's going to manage to get the best of this particular engagement over here as the Chaos Lord gets driven off. We did see the Combo Flamer upgrade on the Chaos Lord, so it's going to be a lot more difficult to kite him around. That Combo Flamer does crazy damage to the heretic squads and does some pretty reasonable damage against the Chaos Space Marines as well. Sword of Flame coming down along with the Vestments of the Warp, so the Sorcerer will be teleporting around and will be offering some AoE support with that Flame Sword as well. The coruscating Flame ability being able to be thrown onto these heretic squads. That alone will probably win some heretic on heretic engagements, and then the sword itself does a little extra damage and some damage over time on top of that. So, oh no, was that a heretic that just exploded for no reason? I've noticed that a lot in Chaos. You got to be careful with that Doom Bolt, or sorry, that Doom Blast, rather. There's a lot of Doom in Chaos. I get a little mixed up. So the Sorcerer continuing to just keep devouring heretics, sacrificing them for the sake of getting more energy, making sure he has those Doom Bolts available, making sure he can teleport around, making use of all his various utility spells. The bolts come in, forcing a retreat, but we're right in the face of the Chaos Lord's base. Right now, the Sorcerer and Heretics just stalling for time as the power farm gets bashed here. Heretics and other multiple unit melee squads actually really difficult to get off of the power farms. They do still get their range damage resistance when they're in melee, even when it's with a building over here. So the Chaos Lord trying to pick them off with the Comet Flamer, but it's going to take him quite a while, and he's probably going to lose a couple gens. Man, the Sorcerer and his Chaos Heretics managing to keep everything pinned in the base over here, while his second squad, his Chaos Space Marines, are actually just capping the rest of the map on the back line. So Mostafa losing power, losing map, not managing to do a lot of damage or cause too much bleed. Some Heretics have fallen from both of Tyranid Terror's squads, but Mostafa definitely on the hurting end over here. You can see Tyranid Terror at 499 of 370 to 371. A 2-0 cap against him right now. The Chaos Space Marine is going to try to get a little chip damage on the Chaos Lord before falling back. Always nice to maybe get a little bit of damage down on him for the coming engagements. And we can see the Chaos Lord already completely kitted out. Tyranid Terror heading into Tier 2. The Harness of Rage and the Dark Halo. So the Chaos Lord is going to be just a crazy tank. He's going to be so hard to bring down. He's got the Dark Halo, and then the Harness of Rage actually gives him more energy, both to him and his other squads. So long as he keeps attacking, he can keep recharging that shield. It's going to be a real nightmare for Mostafa to deal with. Or sorry, for Tyranid Terror to deal with. You see what the problem is that we have a blue army that's on the red side, and we have a red army that's on the blue side. Can you guys color coordinate a little bit? It would make my job much easier in these situations. I do wish you could swap the colors back and forth, but here we are as it stands right now. We've got Tier 2 coming in. Mostafa's not too far off, but there's definitely going to be a point in the match here where Tyranid Terror could potentially bring something like a quick vehicle, a Blood Crusher or something like that, or just he'll have his Tier 2 tech available while Mostafa's still trying to maintain map control with just Tier 1 options. So our Word Bearers moving back out onto the map. The map has actually stayed pretty well capped for both sides. Mostafa using the Chaos Lord to just muscle around on the back end, actually going so far as to decap even the most prominent wreck point directly in front of Tyranid Terror's base. Oh my gosh, and Tyranid Terror bringing out a Dreadnought almost immediately as soon as he hits Tier 2. He got his gens up super fast and then managed to get some gen bashes in on the other side. And just as I say that, it looks like more gen bashes are coming in. 2 squads of Heretics now on the power farm of Mostafa again. And this is looking like a rough start for our Chaos Lord here. That said, his requisition income is so great right now, 368 to 240. So he's getting almost 130 requisition more than his opponent every minute. So as much as these gen bashes are hurting, he's going to be able to repurchase them. Really the only downside is that it's cutting off immediate power income. I'm sure as soon as Mostafa manages to rout this army, he'll be able to put the gens back down again. And oh my gosh, that's the power of the Sorcerer right there. The Chaos Dreadnought comes onto the field and then immediately gets teleported into a forward position. So that Tier 2 advantage gets brought onto the field faster than almost any other commander would be able to do it. There's no choice but for the Chaos forces of the Word Bearers to fall back here. An easy route with this Assault Cannon Dreadnought. Mostafa going immediately for Plague Marines. Has to do something about this Dread, and it looks like the Dreadnought might even just charge in here and just try to keep his opponent locked in the base. Without any big Tier 2 options, this is going to be pretty tricky. The Plague Marines do come out pretty quickly, though. That was good choice of Mostafa. I think he predicted that there was going to be an early vehicle. He knew how far behind on the power he was, so he got himself some anti-vehicle almost immediately. That said, the map will probably start turning red here pretty quickly. Leaving the worship in base is allowing the Chaos Lord and the Plague Marines to move rather quickly, so they're hopefully evading some of this Dreadnought. But I think he might have been trying to get into that garrison there, and the knockback just kept happening, so the Plague Marines wouldn't do it. There they go. They're going to get into the other side here now. Now I'm not sure it's necessary for the Chaos Lord to be hanging out here. I feel like the Chaos Lord could be moving around elsewhere on the map. And we can see a little skirmish over here. Tyranid Terror must have been focused on that battle in the base a little bit too much. He lost his lost most of his heretics in that engagement. And perhaps this Dreadnought might be going down. Let's see if that Sorcerer Teleport is on cooldown or not. I'm not sure. But as much as the map had been staying equal as far as requisition and power income goes, the victory points are getting perilously low. We've got a 2-0 cap again. 488 to 186. He's now 300 victory points behind. Mostafa has to do something to get on the map. And I feel like Mostafa must have some little bit of premonition here, because he is getting a second squad of Plague Marines. Now, granted, it's because he doesn't have any power that he's forced into that option. But Tyranid Terror is not hesitating to build a second Dreadnought out here. He threw the first one into the mix. And I wouldn't go so far to say that it was a waste, because the victory points are quickly counting down here for Mostafa. So the Dreadnought did a lot of damage. It bought a lot of time, and time is often a resource that people neglect in RTS. That said, a Dreadnought is an expensive thing to throw down. Oh my gosh, and here comes the second Dreadnought. They're just teleporting onto the field as soon as they become available. Mostafa might actually get another squad kill here. Let's see. Oh, yes, he is paying attention. I thought the Tyranid Terror might have lost one of his heretic squads there, but managed to save it just in the nick of time. And now we've got 2 squads of Plague Marines, so even the Sorcerer won't be able to stop this anti-vehicle damage. Might be able to mitigate it a bit. Siege Marines coming onto the field as well, so those Inferno Bolters going to start shredding infantry. And again, another easy route. Mustafa actually bleeding Tyranid Terror of a lot of those heretics. I think every time I've seen a Tyranid Terror heretic squad fall back, it's only had 1 or 2 models left. Plague Champs, or Plague Marines, trying to get some damage down on this Dreadnought while they can. Getting interrupted by the Chaos Sorcerer. The Sorcerer is gonna have to get out of here, though, before much longer. Not a super tank, so even just tangling with the heretics and now the Chaos Lord, he can't actually stand up to that himself. Was that a friendly fire kill on this Hugbot here? The Chaos Dreadnought of Tyranid Terror now upgraded with a Mark of Khorne, so it does have those 2 power claws. One of the nastiest melee threats in the game, especially once it goes into its Blood Rage ability. You do have to be careful with that, though. The Blood Rage can cause your Dreadnought to get baited into nasty situations. Oh my gosh, what is he doing? He's being very cavalier with these Plague Marines. But it looks like as it stands right now, he's going to fall back, save the squad. Doing pretty well on the other side of the map, but does get forced off with the appearance of this Chaos Sorcerer. An easy route there for Tyranid Terror. 119 to 478, and it looks like Mustafa's managed to stabilize at least a little bit here. Finally has his gen farm back up, finally pulling a few victory points off the scoreboard from Tyranid Terror. And managing to push back some of the supporting squads of this Dreadnought, leaving the Dreadnought fairly exposed to the Plague Marines on this side of the map. The second squad will be reinforcing and moving forward here shortly. As the victory points continue to change hands, Mostafa needs to get on the map right now. This is getting dicey. Both VPs are now changing hands back to Tyranid Terror. Looks like the Chaos Lord realizes that and is heading down to do something about that, while the Dreadnoughts of Tyranid Terror continuing to keep Mostafa locked down. Oh man, that was a really impressive backflip from that heretic. Now dropping into double digits over here. Let's see what's happening on the VPs. It's gonna be important. Kill the Weak goes down. heals up that Chaos Lord almost a full, and he can actually fire that ability while continuing to cap, so that didn't even slow down the cap at all. Meanwhile, over here we've got a Blood Sacrifice calling in some Bloodletters with this Chaos Space Marine squad doing everything in his power. This might be the last stand for Mostafa. He's trying to keep it together, but he's not going to have a squad to capture this point. These Bloodletters are actually going to expire before they can cap anything. Losing some Chaos Space Marines. A Summoning Circle coming down on the other side was trying to prevent that Dreadnought from going down to the Plague Marines, but it looks like it wasn't quite enough. Both players using Bloodletter summons on the field to try to win their respective engagements. Unfortunately for Tyranid Terror, it didn't quite go well enough for him. 52 victory points, now going under 50 as the VPs are about to change hands once and for all, maybe, for Mostafa, as Tyranid Terror goes into Tier 3. Now, Tyranid going into Tier 3 here, I think he's fine because he has such a huge victory point lead, but otherwise his army is quite lacking. I mean, he only has the 2 squads of Heretics. They are level 3, however. That's nothing to scoff at. Oh man, we've got the fire of the Sorcerer coming down here. This Dark Flames ripping apart, hopefully winning him an engagement, but it looks like even with the flames it wasn't quite enough. Not with the, it looks like, I think we had Bloodlust down for the Chaos Lord, the global ability of the Chaos Lord there, increasing damage output rapidly as they continue to strike their opponents. These Siege Marines should be able to tear apart these Plague Champs pretty well. And the Chaos Lord switching his war gear up, it looks like giving up on the range, going completely melee over here, turning the Chaos Lord into pretty much his own Khorne Dreadnought Hugbot, just in a smaller, more compact package. This is truly a frightening sight if you saw that coming at you. The victory points are just so critical right now for Mostafa. He's doing everything in his power. The Chaos Sorcerer can't cap under this, I don't think. Yeah, a knockback comes down. And the attack speed of these claws is actually very quick, which makes the mantle of the Harness of Rage and Dark Halo combination even scarier. That Chaos Lord is now going to do crazy melee damage and be nigh on impossible to bring down, especially in melee. You're going to have to kite him around a lot. He gets the decap. Is he actually going to get this Plague Marine squad out of here? It looks like maybe. That's a big maybe, but it does escape. Those Plague Marines are notoriously difficult to bring down, and proving why right here. Another Bloodlust goes down, using those globals every chance he gets to make sure he's winning these Heretic engagements, because map control is everything for Mostafa right now. He has a lot of income. He's got a lot of resource right now, too. I don't know if he's going to go for a Dreadnought or what. That is a super critical knockback right there. That may have saved the engagement for that squad just barely coming out on top of that. If they hadn't knocked back that Aspiring Champion, I think they would have lost that fight. The Chaos Heretics for Mostafa being level 4, I think won that engagement. That extra bit of melee skill allowing them to get the special attacks over here. Deciding better of trying to decap that point, settling for just the 2. The Inferno Bolters there actually do really solid damage against the Plague Marines. Is this Chaos Sorcerer going to be enough? Not quite. Still escape. The health bar of Plague Marines looks super low, but this is still like a 100 hit point unit. The Plague Marines have 2200 health right now at level 2, so it's deceiving how difficult it is to take those down. Oh my gosh, Tyranid Terror going for the Great Unclean One. Oh, this is going to be a match right here. Mostafa finally getting some tier 2 vehicles on the field right now with that Dreadnought coming out here. And the onus is on Tyranid Terror to close this out. And I think he's just getting a little too desperate in some of these engagements. Man, I love this word bearer's Dreadnought, by the way. Look at this guy. He looks so good. Alright, I hear Doom Blast going off. And it looks like we have another blood sacrifice happening over here. Yeah, one of those Plague Marines got sacrificed to summon in a squad of Bloodletter Demons. Easy enough to change that from a loss to a win with a little bit of global red. Both players have a lot of red. They've both been losing and killing so many heretics, so many squads, models, heroes down over here as well. Chaos Sorcerer did fall. Tyranid Terror decide against the Great Unclean One. And goes for some Terminators instead. I was about to say Great Unclean One for a Dreadnought seems like a curious choice. But with the addition of these Chaos Terminators on the field. Now, let's see. I'm not actually sure. I don't think the Chaos Lord can solo these. But he can do some pretty significant damage. And as you can see, his shield just keeps going back up. His energy's getting higher and higher. And he's level 8. Oh my gosh. Both sides actually very high in heroes. And maybe I was wrong. He managed to kill one of these Chaos Terminators. He takes down another one. Tyranid Terror brings in the Terminators. Maybe should have stuck to some ranged firepower here instead of trying to engage this Chaos Lord in melee. With the combined forces there of the Terminators, Siege Bolters, and Heretics, they're able to finally push back the Chaos Lord. And Mostafa's struggling. With only 33 victory points, he can't stand to lose a single engagement at this point. If he gets pushed off of the map completely at any one point, that's probably enough time for Tyranid Terror to make a 2 or a 2-0 cap against him. And with only 33 victory points, that's less than a minute to get those back together. We do have a Chaos Shrine of Corn over here as well, so great decision, I think, by Mostafa to use some kind of passive unit income to lock down that topmost point. Blood Rage goes down, but it's not working out too well for this Dread of Tyranid Terror. This might be a lost Corn Dread. Where is that Sorcerer? I'm not sure. He has 149 red resource right now. That red resource, of course, used for all of our commander call-ins and global abilities. Oh man, and using a blood sacrifice off of an already pre-spawned bloodletter to make even more bloodletters over here. The Chaos Sorcerer's gonna go down. He's not paying attention. The Corn Dreadnoughts showing down with some Plague Marines. There is a second squad if Mostafa gets it up here. I think he'll actually be able to take out this Dreadnought. Unless he loses the squad. What is he looking at? He's looking at the victory point over here. He loses a squad of Plague Marines to that Dreadnought, which is a fight I think he could have won. And even with the Lightning Claws on these Chaos Terminators, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to hang out right here. Bloodlust goes down on the Chaos Lord squads once again. Oh my gosh, it's a brutal melee fight, and the Chaos Terminators just can't stick around. It's just way too much melee damage from this Chaos Lord's army. When that global gets activated, the damage scales so fast. He doesn't want to. Yeah, he can't lose the second squad of Plague Marines. The armies are staying side by side right now. It's brutal, small, and I mean, there's the ground is just littered with the bodies of heretics. Tyranid Terror, I think, got a little too desperate. It's so easy to do when victory is so close, right? With only 12 VPs remaining, you just want to close the game out before something bad happens. But unfortunately, that tends to cause you to play in such a way that something bad usually happens. You get desperate for that win and you start throwing resources away. Tyranid Terror's hero has gone down twice in recent memory. Oh my gosh, kill the Dreadnought! What are you doing? Oh, he finally gets the swing there. Finishes off the Dreadnought. Another summoning circle comes in. Bloodletters start pouring out of this demon gate right here. But a third Dreadnought down. Mostafa just has Dreadnoughts on Overwatch. He doesn't even care. He's just going to park Dreadnoughts on every victory point. He says, you've got Lightning Claw Terminators. I've got Hugbots that are ready to give them some affection. No big deal. We can all be friendly here. We're all chaos, so let's just share the love. Chaos Lord getting very low. He activates the shield again. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. He needed to get a few more hits. I think if he would have just attacked there instead of trying to escape, I think maybe the energy regen from his Lightning Claws might have been enough to save him. Another Shrine of Corn goes down here. So more Bloodletters coming in more consistently on that victory point. Mostafa locking things down. He only has a couple squads that can actually cap, but you know what? He has not one, not two, not three. But he's about to have a fourth Chaos Dreadnought on the field, and I'm not sure what Tyranid Terror is going to do about it. The Lightning Claw Terminators are going to be able to shred the infantry of Mostafa, but he has next to no anti-vehicle at all at this point. And sometimes, I guess, if you're tier 2 and you can't go tier 3, maybe you just spam Dreadnoughts and it might be just enough. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 hug bots, 2 shooty bots. We'll see how things go from here. I don't think he wants to upgrade all those to the Mark of Corn in case Tyranid gets something like a Predator on the field. A Predator could actually push off quite a few hug bots if it's microed correctly and manages to stay out of range. So I think keeping a couple autocannons on the field is probably a good idea. But suddenly Tyranid looking like he's struggling to close this game out with only 12 VPs remaining. You know he wants it so bad. I mean, he had Mostafa down into double digits while he was still at 400 VPs, and Mustafa's bringing it back, man. This could be the comeback of a lifetime. Let's see if Mostafa can manage to hold on long enough. It's only going to take a stray cap or two to close this out, even if you cap the point and immediately cap it back. If you're on the losing side, you're still going to lose about 7 or 8 victory points. Oh my gosh, is this squad going to go down? They have 15 HP. I think that's enough. The sidearms of the Heretics do next to no damage at all. Oh man, and we see a third Hugbot upgraded. So yeah, these Siege Marines just can't leave. They can't leave that that garrison right now. Is that a mistake though? Wouldn't the autocannon have done more damage? How much is this thing doing per punch? Why? I feel like this Dreadnought should be doing more damage to this garrison. I think some of the garrisons should probably have a little less health, so when it gets to the late game situations like this, you should be able to actually bring those down. But like 2,500 is a lot. Especially considering this thing is for some reason only doing like 10 damage per swing. That doesn't seem correct. I thought heavy melee. Let's see. Melee resistance are yeah, it's heavy melee DPS. I thought heavy melee did full damage to buildings, but I suppose it does not. Combo Flamer coming over here. There's one way to get these things out, but that said, the Inferno Bolters did great. While hiding in that garrison, they managed to take down both of the Shrines of Corn. But they do ultimately have to retreat. Oh, and that's the distinctive sound of a Predator las cannon. So the Chaos Predator, luckily there's one Chaos Dreadnought that isn't upgraded, and you can see Mostafa instantly upgrading that Chaos Dreadnought to the Mark of Siege, giving it that anti-vehicle rocket launcher. So now moving up to engage this Predator. The Predator actually can't stand too strong against this. There is some repair coming down from the Heretics, but I don't think it straight up wins the fight here. I think he's going to have to back it up. Let's see what he decides to do. Trying to engage in melee with the Chaos Terminators. This is the perfect play. This allows the Predator to start healing up and push back, maybe even destroy. Yes, the Siege Dread goes down. The second Dreadnought now out here taking big damage from the Predator. The Predator was all he needed to get back into this fight. Tyranid Terror now taking out what looks to be 2 of the Dreadnoughts, possibly at the cost of his Terminators though, because he did teleport those in to get into melee engagements. With that first Siege Dread, the Chaos Terminator's in a lot of trouble. They're trying to get out of there, but 2 Dreads go down, and now the center victory point is exposed. Heretics moving in to start capturing. Meanwhile, on this side of the map, we see this Hugbot trying to dispatch these Chaos Space Marines. It looks like they might just barely escape as it's chasing the forward model instead of killing the rear one. Terminators! 100 points remaining on their health. It's not a lot. 10 points going down. The caps are on the field all over the place. And I think Mustafa's gonna hold on here. The cap goes down. 4 and stops at 4. Okay. VPs are captured on all sides again. All 3 victory points changing hands briefly, but ultimately going back to Mostafa. However, Mostafa has managed to kill all 4 of these Dreadnoughts has lost all 4 of these Dreadnoughts to Tyranid Terror's Chaos Predator. I must be out of practice. I'm getting my casting all mixed up here. I'm telling you, the colors are throwing me off. I see blue, and I assume that that's Mostafa, because on the bottom, he's blue. 60 victory points, counting down rapidly against Tyranid Terror. He does have the Sorcerer over here, who is going to win this fight. What's going to happen on this side? This might be it. Mostafa may have done it. Plague Marine's coming back out. Tyranid Terror managed to just oh, he teleports in! With the Chaos Terminators. The Chaos Terminators just barely surviving. Might be just enough to bring this back around. Plague Marines can't stand. Oh my gosh. It's so tight. 4 to 35 VPs right now. Both sides trying to send exactly the correct units to get the caps down on the appropriate sides of the map. But I think this might be it. The Plague Marines are punching away, but they just don't do enough damage to stop the cap. The cap is down on this side, and it looks like Tyranid Terror, despite almost losing the game here, I wouldn't go so far to say it was almost a throw, but man, the victory points were so much in his favor. It was going to be tragic if he lost this game. Mostafa loses the Chaos Lord, and I think that's going to be it. Yeah, the Chaos Terminators are in the center of the map, getting the final cap. There is a decap going. Oh, nope. The game ended. Victory points hit 0 as it was a 1-0 cap for just a brief moment there. Let's see, how close was it? Oh, it was so very close! Oh, it could have gone back to neutral. Both heroes were down. There were only Plague Marines left for Mostafa, though. I think losing all 4 of the Dreadnoughts in that chain of engagements was just a bit too much for him to come back from. He could have been calling in some more stuff. He had tons of requisition over here. But it's hard to see that when you're in the game. We can see it because we're watching. We don't have the pressure of everything that's going on in that game to bear down on us and kind of interrupt all of our clear-minded decision making. So Mostafa loses the game, but man, he made it look good. He almost brought back a 400-point VP deficit there with the 4 Dreadnoughts, but unfortunately all it took was one well-managed Chaos Predator. This Lasbred, I don't know how it's only level 2. That thing should be level 4. It should get a level for every Dreadnought. I guess that would be a little silly. But what a match, man. Don't tell me Chaos Mirrors are boring. Holy crap. That was amazing. We saw the power of a level 10 Chaos Lord with his lightning claws. We saw the Chaos Sorcerer just instantly teleporting powerful units into the thick of battle. It was a really, really solid match all around. Thanks for watching. That's going to wrap us up for right now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow me on the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I've got it all. And of course, I am streaming live on Twitch on a daily basis. So come hang out, watch some games, learn some stuff. And we're also doing, from time to time, some live tournaments, live events, show matches, all that sort of thing. I've been Red-Rupee. You've been enjoying my cast, hopefully. Stick around, and I'll catch you guys next time.